Just his presence. That's what the Father brings. His presence. I want to welcome you to High Praise Christian Church Men of Standards. I'm your host, Dr. Richard Forbes. I'm one of the elders of High Praise. And this is the Men of Standards, a show that deals with men issues. This show is not only for men, it's for the family. And that's one thing, if you ever know anything about the divine order of God, family is after him. Divine order is God, the family, marriage, and the church. We're here today to talk about husbands. But I also want to emphasize that these 10 things I'm going to talk about today can also be applied if you're single and in a relationship. Today's topic is 10 things a husband needs but don't know how to ask. You see, one thing about us men, we don't show emotions the way women do. We keep a lot of things inside because we think it's pride. We don't think it's manly to show emotions. I grew up in a household where my grandfather said it wasn't good for a man to even cry. And I grew up like that. I'm a product of DC public schools, Washington, D.C. And going through that, as I grew up to be a man, I wouldn't cry. I kept a lot of things inside of me. You name it. Until I was saved. And I started learning the Father. Like the song Father Me says in the intro, is just something about the Father. When he shows up, you know he's there. And that's one thing we have to get back to, relying on the Father. So today we're going to talk about 10 things a husband or a man in a relationship needs but don't know how to ask for. And I think at the top of the list goes respect. Every man wants respect. Every man wants to be respected. It even says in Ephesians 5:33, let each one of you love his wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband. Some people think that as a man, you automatically supposed to get respect. But over the years, I have learned that you earn respect. You carry yourself in a respectful way. And some people say, well, what is a respectful way? You don't go around picking fights. You don't go around, and when I say this word, disrespectful to women and older people. You respect them. You say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I know this is an ancient art and it's not practiced today, but when I was coming up, that was respect. That's how you honored, you respected people. You understood they are older than me, they know. Society today are really trying to say that men don't know. And I have to be honest, men don't know how to respect others because half of them were never taught, half of them never learned how to respect their parents, how to respect their significant others. And most men don't know how to even ask for the respect that they need. One thing that motivates a man is the respect that he gets and his pride. And the majority of the time, the pride is what really, really hurts. Really don't understand. Because you have to understand what pride is first and how it relates to not only your relationship, but the respect that you want. I said earlier about most men think that because you're male, you automatically get the respect. It doesn't work like that. Like I said, some people even think that love is respect. But it's not. And not to a man. Respect is something that I would say is not only, like I said before, earned, but is shown. Respect to me is an action. An action one gives to another. Doesn't necessarily have to be opening up a door for a woman, which is a form of respect. It's the way you treat people. It's the way you talk to people. You don't go around yelling at everybody or slamming doors in people's face. That's just two examples of disrespect. Number two, and this is something that I had to learn myself in my marriage. I've been married for 3 years. And I had to learn how to love her. I had to learn what most people would call her love language. And that is something that you use not only if you are married, you use that also if you're in a relationship. Know each other. But a man is not going to tell you all the time what he likes. If he wants quality time, if he wants just time. Most men want to hang out, but you also have to understand when you're in a relationship, y'all have to spend time. That's how you learn one another. That's how you bring it all together, so to speak. You bring it all together. The most beautiful thing I say about having a relationship And that's something that men don't say. It's just being with someone. Most people, most men even take that for granted because, hey, I can go out here and get anybody I want. And do. No. If you want a relationship, you want a good marriage, men, communicate with your other half. Tell her what you want. Tell her what you need. That's a love language. Love language to me, communication. Communicate with your other half. You see, the communication will get an understanding that she needs to help you. And because of this communication, she becomes your cheerleader, so to speak. Every man, even though we won't admit it, needs their cheerleader. Needs that woman that says, I love you, to have his back. To have his back means a lot to a man. They may say, majority of men say, oh no, I'm good. No, you're not. It says in the Bible, man was not built to be alone. And let me tell you something. Behind every great man, there's a great old woman. That woman has to learn how to be your cheerleader. But if you don't communicate with her, she's not going to know what to do. And down the road, you're going to get frustrated because you want support, but don't know how to ask for the support. That's the thing about it. That's what you need. The support. You need the support. Being a cheerleader, if you ever played in any sports, is a person that when you're down, picks you up. When you need that extra boost, you hear that voice. That's what we as men, we need. We need that. I can truly, honestly say, even though my wife is an overseer of a church, and she's a very busy woman, but she always has time to spend with me. She always have time to say an encouraging word to me. Because the job I have is not physical, it's mental. And it's not a day that I don't come home mentally drained. And she knows that because we know our love language. We know how to communicate with each other. When she sees that, she says something nice, something encouraging. And that's what you have to do, ladies. Encourage him. Encourage him. to the point where he wants to. Man, I can't wait to go to work. So bring home the bacon, so to speak, pay the bills. Come on, baby. Can't wait to get home. It's a beautiful feeling when two people are connected. And one of the things that connects people, a man to and a woman, is that communication and is that cheerleading from her. That cheerleading from her, whoo, it's nothing like it. Nothing like it. The next one, you have to make your home environment a safe place. And I'm saying that, when I say safe place, I'm not talking about, shoot 'em up, bang, bang, out in the neighborhood and this and that, so forth, because that could be going on around you. That's one form of safety. But what I'm talking about, when that man comes in that house, let it be quiet. Let it be clean. An inviting environment. An environment that is so loving that he can't wait to get home. Because he knows you're going to be there waiting for him, and it's going to be beautiful. I ain't saying have soft music every night, but set the atmosphere that is conducive for, I would say, something, even romance. Be conducive. I remember coming home as a child, growing up with my grandparents, and my grandfather would get home around 5:30 every evening. And my grandmother would meet him at the door, ask him how was his day, ask him, are you hungry? You need something? Then she would walk away and he would sit down and relax. My grandmother would tell us, me and my cousins, your grandfather's home, let him rest, let him unwind. If we was running around making noise, she would say, hey, your grandfather's home, let him rest. He's worked all day. I never saw an evening that my grandfather came home and it was chaos. I never, even when he didn't have to work, say he took off a day and I come home from school, it still was no chaos. I'm not someone to say they didn't argue and fuss. Hey, it's part of a relationship. You're not going to agree all the time. You're not. That's the safety I'm talking about. Safety that not only he wants to come home, but he can come home and relax. He's not necessarily going to tell you this because we have too much pride. We're not going to really tell you what we really want. We assume that you already know. Big mistake on our part. Because no two people are alike. No two people think alike. That's where we go wrong now. That's why sometimes things fall apart. It's because of that. One thing you also have to realize that we are human. We're not perfect. No man out here is perfect. He's going to make mistake after mistake until he get it right. If you love that man, understand that man. If you love that woman, understand that woman. She's not perfect. He's not perfect. There was only one perfect being, and his name was Jesus Christ. We all have sinned. We all have to repent. We all have to. So don't think that you have a perfect mate, be him male or female, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. He's not perfect. She's not perfect. So stop thinking that it's going to be perfect. There are going to be arguments. They're going to be fussing. I don't condone fighting. If y'all have to fight, walk away from each other. Because no man should put his hand on no woman, and no woman should put their hand or feel like they need to fight. No. If it gets to that, then y'all separate for a while. I would suggest to the man, even though, because of our pride, walk out the door. Come back later. Because at that point in time, your emotions going to get involved in it, and you're going to say something that you're going to regret, or do something that you know you don't supposed to do. That's why you want to think before you react. Think before you react. Think. I know in the heat of the moment, sometimes you can't think. And don't think that I'm up here talking about, something that is easy to do. Everything I'm saying, I done been down that road. I've been in them situations. That's one of the reasons why I tried to talk to, especially young men, about their choices. It's not easy to react sometimes. Your emotions do get in your way. Prime example of that is what happened at the Oscars a couple of days ago with Mr. Will Smith. Emotions got involved into a situation, and he got out of character. I don't think there's a person on this earth have done something and then later on regretted it. later on saying, I said, why did I do that? I didn't have to do that. But we all have been down that road. We're not perfect. So stop thinking that you are, because you're not. We talk about a man's physical needs. And for most people, that's a touchy subject. I had to do some research on that myself. I'm going to read this. It comes out of Genesis 24:67. For a faithful husband who is honoring his wife, her body will be the only one he enjoys for as long as both shall live. Think about that. We as men sometimes, and I do say sometimes, think that sex is a conquest. And a lot of women think sex is love. But when a person is in a relationship, a person that is married, is very sacred. I added this to the 10 because I had a conversation a couple months ago with a young man that said that, he was basing the young ladies he was sleeping with as a conquest. I conquered. And I asked him, you consider that as conquered, having sex with all these women? How do they feel? Oh, they think I love them. Oh, do you think that's right? He laughed. Man, let me say this. It's, excuse me, conquest is not the answer in a relationship. Conquest is not something that you want to put a notch on your belt and say, oh, well, I had this one, I had that one. Conquest like that ends up in disaster because you're playing with people's emotions, you're playing with people's feelings. I know a guy once, and we were hanging out, and this subject came up, and the guy that was with us, it was three of us, he said, yeah, that reminds me of that show that comes on TV called Cheaters. And we said, Cheaters? Because at that point in time, I had never heard of it. I'd never heard of the show. And he went on and tell me about the show, and I said, wow, that man got caught with another woman, and both of the women didn't know about each other. And oh, excuse me. And I think if it hadn't have been that they were on camera, I think he would have got hurt, because both of the young ladies jumped up in his face and was going to do something to him. And me and the other two gentlemen said, no, that is something that really needs to stop. Because when you play with somebody's emotions like that, it's like you lighting a stick of dynamite. You don't know what's going to happen. That's why I'm saying, know who you with. Communicate who you are to them, and they need to communicate who they are to you. Know who you with. If both of y'all agree to it, hey, that's y'all. But if in a committed relationship, you're playing with fire. You're playing with fire. Women, I'm going to say this. And I picked this for number 7. Take care of yourself. It almost goes, what I'm getting ready to say, going to go hand in hand with when I was saying about come home, make the home safe. Take care of yourself. Look presentable. Back in the day, we used to see the women with the big rollers in your hair. You know, the husband come home to house coat. You know, one thing I say about my wife, she looks good when I walk through the door every time. That makes me want her even more. To come home after a long day, see my beautiful wife, looking good, smelling good. That memory, ladies, stay in our head. But we're not going to tell you that. I know for myself, that image of her looking good, smelling good, lasts me all through that next day. I can't wait to get home, because I know that beautiful woman I saw that evening before is going to be waiting for me again. And I'm going to see it again and again and again. But we as men, we don't know how to tell you that. Some of us beat around the bush. Well, why don't you fix your hair? Why you keep wearing that? You know, we try to hint around, but we don't know how to hint around. Put it like that. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but yeah, we don't know how to say it. Because if you really love somebody, you will get stuck with words, because you don't want to hurt their feelings. You know, you want, and it's the same way with men. You know, you want her They can't wait till you get home. And it has nothing really to do with having sex all the time. It's just knowing that that handsome man or that beautiful woman is coming home to you, or you can't wait to get home to see them. That's what it's about. That memory. Build intimacy. Build it to the point that you can't wait. And like I said, it does not have to do with sex all the time. It has nothing to do with that. I always say, especially with the profession I'm in and how busy my wife is, we have date night. We do things together. Sometimes I come home and I'm mentally drained. I'm just gone. And it could be the same time she didn't rip and run all day, pastoring. Her mind is tired. We will get up in the bed, turn on a nice movie, and just cuddle. Not saying nothing. Just cuddle. I know most men say, well, I'm not the cuddling type and this and that. No, man. It's called relaxing. And the best person to relax with is your other half. Not your boys. Your other half. That is what we men, deep down inside, we need that. But we don't want to admit to it. We don't want to admit that we want the intimacy. We don't want to admit that, we like that. We're not going to do that because we're supposed to be macho creatures. Yes, we were born warriors. Yes, that is true. But every man has that soft side. Every man needs these things. But like I said, don't know how to express it, don't know how to tell it because they think they're going to be less than a man or looked upon like that. We as men have to learn how to communicate better with our other half. Be we married, be we just have a girlfriend or whatever. Commitment. Because even though you may say that you don't want a commitment with this young lady or that young, okay, what do you want? It's nothing. Let me tell you something. It's nothing like having somebody that's watching your back, that's your cheerleader, that you can just sit down, don't say nothing, just hold them, and you feel so good. That's a part of being loved. That's a part of feeling needed. And I don't care what no majority of men say. You want to be needed. You want to be needed by somebody. No matter what you say, you do. You can suppress it all you want. But you want it. We We are creatures that need it. That's one of the reasons why God made you a mate, so you wouldn't have to be alone. So you wouldn't have to struggle by yourself. But see, society have twisted all that. So, oh, you don't need that. You don't need this. No. If you didn't need it, believe me, God wouldn't have made it. We have to understand that. We have to, as men, have to start realizing that. We got to bring the love back into our relationships. We have to. Talk to a lot of men, and we all agree on one thing. A man needs male friends. But the friends that some of us pick are not the right kind. We need friends that are going to pour into you, going to encourage you to do the right thing. Male friends, they're going to tell you when you are wrong, not agree with you because they want something. But that is one of the things that majority of the times happen. You have people, especially, and over the years, this is, like I said, I'm only talking from experience. My experience may be different from your experience. I was married at one time, before this marriage, and I had some male friends that were pouring negativity into me. Yeah, it was me to listen, but fellas, for a fact, that's my boy. He got my back. He know what's up. He got me. And they planted this negative seed over and over and over again till it start sprouting. And a lot of people say, well, you had a choice. Yeah, I had a choice. But these my boys. They got my back. Yeah, they had my back all right. And when the marriage was over with, because of my insecurities, the same one that was busy saying all this negativity about my wife at the time, when we got divorced, he ended up marrying her. And me and this friend was together, for years. From college. Me and him went to the same college together, played ball together, hung out together, went to the clubs together. When you saw one, you saw the other. There was no boy. So you want people to pour into you. You want people to be positive about you, about your relationships. You understand? You want positive things happening. I heard a bishop talking not too long ago. Matter of fact, it was last night. And it was confirmed last night, put like that, at a good friend of mine's 18-year ministry anniversary. He was saying about broken tablets. And we as men, we break a lot of them. We break a lot of them. We say we're going to do something and we don't do it. Something, even though that's a little bit off a subject, something just told me to say that. I believe the Holy Spirit did to say that. Men, be men of your word. Like you say, be about your word. Your word is your bond. Your word is the only thing no one can take from you. They will try to take everything and anything else from you, but they can't take. If you say you're going to do it. Just do it. I don't know who that was for, but it popped into my mind to say that. Be about it. If you say you love her, love her. Know her. Understand her. If you say you love him, try to understand him. Don't put him on no pedestal. Don't put her on no pedestal. I don't know who this is for right now, but something is telling me to say that to somebody. One of the things I always try to tell people when I counsel them, because I am a Christian counselor, I have a PhD in Christian counseling and psychology. I try to tell them, don't point your fingers at anybody. Understand who you are and help them understand you as well as yourself. Understand them like they understand themselves. Meaning communication, understanding, and trust. The elements. And we as men, we have to stop communicating with our other half. We have to stop communicating who we are to ourselves. And one of the things I tell them, pray. Pray. Anything worth having is worth praying about. Anything worth wanting, pray about. That's the only way things going to get better. It's just like I mentioned about the bishop was talking about breaking tablets. God will give you what you want. But if you go against it, he's going to make you work for it. When you ask for it this time, you're going to work for it. Something that, it dawned on me exactly what he was talking about when he was talking about Moses and the tablet, the 10 Commandments. God made them, and he wrote them on the tablet. He made the tablet, with his finger. He wrote, the 10 Commandments. He gave them to Moses. Moses went down to the camp. He saw that they were, worshiping, this ram, this other God, so to speak. He got mad and broke them. And then he went back up into the mountains again. The first time when God made the tablet, it was 40 days. He was up in the mountain 40 days now. When Moses broke them, God told him point blank, you had till tomorrow morning. So you go make 2 new tablets, and I'm going to rewrite it for you again. But this time you got to do some work. And that's what I'm saying to us men today, is that we have a lot of work to do. We have to start communicating with our other half. That's number 1. And we're going to have to start praying. You may think that your prayers are not being answered. People are not listening. Keep doing it. God hears you. But somewhere down the line, he told you to do something. You didn't do it. So now you got to work for it. You have to work for it. Same way with the young lady. You have to work for it. You got to work for it. You have to start understanding who you are. You have to start understanding what you want in the relationship. I know it's a little off right now because I went off the subject a little bit. But that's what the Holy Spirit will do to you when somebody needs something. I don't know who I'm talking to today. But I do know one thing, that we as men, we have to stand up and be the kings that we're supposed to be. Iron sharpens iron, fellas. We have to start sharpening each other, holding each other accountable for our actions, and start respecting and understanding our women. God made us the kings. And just because you are a male, don't make you a man. It makes you a male. Help is that person standing beside you that you say, I love you to. And if you don't have one, one's out there waiting for you. I learned a long time ago that what I want may not be what God wants for me. I ran around a lot trying to find the perfect mate for myself, the perfect person for me that I thought was for me. It took me, until I got into my 60s for me to find the perfect person for me. And that didn't come until after I surrendered to the Father. Yes, I've been saved for a long time, but I was still searching instead of letting go and let God. And when I did that, that's when everything started falling into place. So I'm telling you, the men as well as the women out there, let go and let God. Let go and let God. Well, you say, well, I don't really know how to do that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. First of all, men, let me say this. Take control of your life. Know who you are. Know the promise that God gave you in his word. Once you start doing that, see how your life change. See what's going to come into your life. Let him choose your mate. Oh, you'll know your mate when it comes. I usually don't tell people the story of how I met my wife because it was so funny. I went to visit a church. My best friend, he's gone now. I wish I had spent some time with him before he left because he was a true friend to me. But him and his wife invited me to church. Had no idea that they was playing matchmaker. Introduced me to the pastor of the church. And immediately I knew. I didn't go there looking for anybody. Matter of fact, I just came out the hospital a month before because my appendix had erupted. Wasn't really looking for anybody. Yeah, I was lonely, but wasn't looking for anybody. Trying to get my health back together. Went to the church. Met her. And from that day to this day, we've been together. I'm saying that to say this. If you let go and let God, he will bring you everything that your heart desires. He may not come when you want him, but when he comes, he's going to be right on time. And I'm a believer of that because it has happened. I'm a witness to it. That's why I know what he can do. I know. Been there. Been there. Gentlemen, you just got to trust in him. Stop holding everything in. Give it to him. I'm not saying go out here and blab it all over the world. Go behind a closed door. Go somewhere and just say, Lord, help me. I've done everything I can do, and it has not worked. Help me. I know that's what I did. And he would bring you the joy you want. He would bring you the peace that you want. He will bring you the mate you want. He will bring you that job you want. But you got to give it to him. You got to give it to him. So, I'm telling you, he will. He will help you. No matter what it is. Come to him with a pure heart. But you say, and I've heard a lot of people even say this, I've done so much wrong. He ain't gonna forgive me. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. He will. And he has forgave you. You haven't done nothing that he didn't already know about before you even done it. Because he already knew. He's just waiting on you. So give your life to him. Become the king that he made you. Gentlemen, give yourself to the Father. Because you are worthy. You worthy to stand up and say, I am what my Father made me. And that's the king. To rule. And a lot of people get this wrong. He made you a king, not over man. He didn't give you domination over another man. He gave you domination over the earth, over the four-legged creatures. That's what you're king of. Take your rightful place. Until next week, I'm Dr. Richard Forbes from High Praise Christian Church at 2817 Walters Lane, District Heights, Maryland, where we make disciples out of people. We don't have members, we have disciples. Where you come in the door, you will be loved. You will be used for the kingdom. We are a kingdom-minded church. So until next week, stay blessed and be loved.